Well, did James FNX and a smirk actually basically just said, stick around, don't go anywhere, because we've got another exciting random match right after the one with P-Train versus Jesse. Well, they definitely weren't wrong. We have BigDunka versus KillerApp. They are starting their own series for the best of 3 for round of 64. First week of brackets. These are two extremely talented runners, even matching file names for that. You see Dunka hoping to not bomb too much. KillerApp looks like maybe we're going for some long state here, but should actually be a really, really good match. We actually do see, Sammy Moss, our tracker, already marked this thing as Boss Randomizer. It's going to be quite the spicy mode. Can't wait to see what unfolds. I'm Claire Mouse. Joined with me on commentary is VXR. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah, we had Boss Randomizer earlier. We got Boss Randomizer again.
Yeah. And of course, anything you're hoping to see here for Boss Randomizer? I know Ice Trinix is a favorite of the fans.
Maybe an 8-eye Moldorm.
8-eye Moldorm, that is also very good. Maybe he'll hopefully show up somewhere, more creative, maybe than in like the Moldorm 2 spot, or even like Hera. Would be kind of cool to see, like Moldorm on a conveyor belt, maybe, back of Skull Woods. That'd be pretty nice.
Helicopter's another good one.
Oh yeah, it should be fun. And looks like, so of course for Boss Randomizer, in addition of course to being the bosses shuffled, we will see, there's a copy of one boss and everywhere with 3 duplicates, but also in addition there are maps and compasses shuffled. So we won't actually know in this case which dungeons are crystals and pendants until we end up picking up the maps for them. And of course in Boss Randomizer, those compasses actually get a lot more value, because if you find a compass to a dungeon and you end up doing a map check inside, you will actually see the boss that's actually hiding at the end of the dungeon. So kind of really nice knowledge to be able to know that you don't have to go all the way to the back of Pod to find out there's an Argus there, and that you don't have the hook shot in order to be able to kill it.
Yeah, that Argus and Trinix are like the 2 big bosses that you might not be able to complete as easily as the others.
Yeah. And of course, I was right. So no Randomizer, of course, on the overworld ambush, but of course it doesn't, preclude, in this case, our runners kind of looking for a maybe more permanent weapon. Looks like we got some divergence already. KillerApp heading towards, the Uncool Secret Passage. Dunka giving us a check on Lumberjack, which unfortunately is going to be a compass, but, let's just pretend that the compass, is to GT or something, and we're not gonna, be able to use it or use it.
Yeah, the GT compass will only show ag and it won't show any of the other compasses.
Yeah. Now, of course, we certainly don't want to discredit, the actual counting ability of compasses, just because it's maps compass shuffle. Every single dungeon will have a little bit more extra value, just because there will be a +2 on every single dungeon. Meanwhile, though, Dunka, finding a shovel in the mushroom spot, so kind of trading one fetch quest for another in the vanilla. Nothing
and a
really,
saving quits, okay.
Yeah, nothing really here, in Lost Woods. Dunka kind of even took the extra time to walk up, to check Lumberjack. You don't, I would say, typically, see it that often, especially without boots, just because, as Dunka kind of demonstrated, it is, quite an early time investment to do that. But, early knowledge, though, especially if it pays off, is actually going to be quite useful.
Yeah, unfortunately not so much today.
Yeah, but Dunka, chances are, though, he's kind of looking at his, inventory, got the shovel early on, so he's like, you know what, I could use, the bushes to farm a couple of 50-50 bombs, check out the heart piece that we can dig up in the shovel spot, and maybe we'll do a Kakariko, from, the bottom. Meanwhile, though, KillerApp, because he visited Uncle early, got, some really nice money, and you know what, his digging,
nice.
With the shovels paid off, basically farming himself not only a full magic drop, but he's got 8 bombs, so he's gonna be more than happy in this case to go through Kakariko.
Yeah, no need to buy any.
And not that he was, I think, really struggling for money or anything like that, but yeah, it's, again, no boots means, especially if you're coming from the north, you would really not like to not have to go all the way down, to the bottom, and then, come all the way back up just to go get some bombs. Meanwhile, though,
we got an ice rod in race game.
Yeah.
And a fire rod in...
Okay, our predictions are ready for Turtle Rock.
Trinex is totally sitting on a pendant margin.
Oh yeah, that's true. Good reminder, BXR. This is still boss shuffle. I think we said that. I said that like 3 minutes ago, but I already forgot. Yeah, that's true. But Trinex actually does not have to be precluded only to Turtle Rock. It could be in actually a good number of dungeons. So that Ice Rod and Fire Rock is really come in very handy early on.
Yeah, really the only Trinex restrictions are Skullwoods and Hera and Papa GT.
And I think that's just mainly because of space restrictions, I want to say. Like Trinex doesn't really, well, I mean, Trinex is a pretty big turtle, so he's got three pretty big necks. Doesn't really quite, fit that well, at the top of like a really, tiny tower.
We already have the map encompassed to Misery Mire. It's interesting. Also, that was 2 shields on the glove in the low.
Yeah, glove in this case. Oh, yeah, actually, look at this. Dunka also giving us a little bit of extra content. Not only that, okay, bottom map is for the rock. But yeah, you don't often get to see, the restock room here. Because he's coming from the south. He already kind of used up his 1 bomb, and in order to get to the Ice Rod, not even enough money to go buy some bombs. So it's actually really nice play in order to be able to just farm up a little bit more. So with the early glove, I certainly can see, some of our runners potentially going to, let's say, back of escape, right? 3 very quick checks. And of course, we're going to get an extra, potential item just because, the Hyrule Castle map is still shuffled out there somewhere. Potentially get, a couple of extra value, as part of the castle.
Yeah, sure. I did not see what was on the library.
The library, I believe, was just another heart piece, and no, this particular item pool for this mode, nothing, fancy, nothing, difficult, restricted, whatever. It's just kind of a coincidence that we're, seeing a bunch of heart pieces early.
There are only 24 of them.
Yeah, but especially if you end up playing, something like, open hard, right? Basically, it just seems like everything is a hard piece, so
right.
It certainly can be, pretty easy to have some seed bleeds, or mode bleeds, I guess, in this case.
I've been doing so much open hard this tournament.
Yeah, and I guess just as part of the, maybe just give a little bit more background as to kind of how the modes are. So initially, you kind of start out with, an equal chance of getting all 5 of the different modes. MC Boss, Shuffle, Tournament Hard, Inverted Keys, Modified Key Sanity, and I am missing Inverted Keys. Yeah, and so then once you kind of play one of those modes, you kind of take it away a slight chance for basically drawing that mode again. So, again, the fact that we are here kind of in brackets, Dunka has been somewhat, vocal about him not really, favoring keys all that much. I think he's played, quite a number of them. So, in particular, he's really probably pretty happy to see a not keys mode here in at least in brackets.
Yeah, so like for this seed, they had 3 cards for this mode, which was their most likely mode. They had 2 for inverted keys and then 1 for each of the other 3.
Yeah, that's true. MC Boss Shuffle ended up getting, I think, as you said, 3 cards. And of course, just like Rando, it is, has a bit of a random effect. Just because it is most frequent does not necessarily mean you're going to draw it. It's just more likely, right? When you're going to go search for, well, we already found the Ice Rod in this case, but when you go search for a medallion, it doesn't always have to show up in the most, item-dense location, right? It could still be one of those, one-off locations like Spy Cave or something like that.
My hair just sank.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like people, both Dunka and KillerApp have kind of like very similar ideas. For I would say Dunka, I think, had early Lumberjack check, but other than that, runners have base. Oh yeah, and then KillerApp kind of went to at least the front of the castle. Other than that, they pretty much have just done, the same things each other has done. Not really anything super noteworthy, of course. Dunka found a compass on Lumberjack, and KillerApp got a little bit of extra money to his name. But, in terms of what else we have to work with, it looks like South Shore is going to be a pretty good bet.
If I got 10 arrows out of the chest, or I was saying to drain the water first.
This is great for us though because we get to see both checks at once. Looks like the killer app is actually picking up 20 rupees. Potentially, well again, did he visit Uncle? Got a nice 300 early, so he might in this case have Zora on his mind. Dunka is a little far from the requisite 500 rupees. Looks like though maybe he's going to take a chance in Kina. Maybe get a little bit of extra payout here.
KillerApp skip damn chest? I didn't see.
I thought he got it. I guess, but I might trust chat more so. Speaking of though, skipping, we got some mids here in Mini Molder Cave. Okay, all right. So maybe KillerApp just forgot about the damn chest. It's not gonna punish him. He might just end up remembering it later. But we saw on Dunka's side at least it's 10 arrows.
Quake from Agina. We'll see if that comes into play later on. Yeah, when he goes to Swamp Rise, oh, I didn't open this chest.
Yeah, there's gonna be some momentary panic. It's like, oh no, and then he opens it. It's like, oh phew, it's only 10 arrows. Hopefully, at least that'll be the case, and it's just gonna be like a kind of like an honest mistake. One of probably the worst feelings, especially early on. If you kind of make a late realization, is like, oh no, I forgot this. What's wrong? And then it kind of just weighs on you for the rest of the scene. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, yeah. Ice Rock Cave paying out pretty well for KillerApp here. So that is our first sword, the permanent weapon. He is still a little bit short though on Zora money. I'm not sure if he wants in this case in order to try and farm something, maybe take a chance or two with some big flipper checks. Maybe. Looks like maybe he wants to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I go back to the 20 rupee cave.
Yeah, and of course, right. So Chancellor maybe looks like because KillerApp hasn't really saved and quit, he might be trying to do some of the out of logic water checks. Waterfall Fairy, maybe Hobo, take a peek what's on Highlight Island. Zora though, 100% logic with those clubs. So this might be something that he is considering, so he doesn't have to isolate. Yeah, meanwhile, Dunka, though, this is kind of his first foray into the front of the castle. KillerApp and having nothing really, that great to his name early on, and only kind of getting, a little bit of cash to his name when he first visited the castle. Not really viable to come here to the front of the cave. But Dunka, of course, having visited, Kakariko, full magic bar. He's got both rods. He's got a couple bombs. If he even really needs those, should be able to clear at least the fronts. And being early on, not very much health means that death warping is going to be pretty straightforward.
Okay, doing fire hot escape.
Yeah, main tournament 2021 memories, anyone?
There are plenty of fire hot escapes then. Yeah, for those who don't know, the 2021 main tournament was entirely standard.
Yeah, that is true. Yes, kind of very actually quite a contrast between this main tournament in 2022, where we basically have gone from 2021's standard hard everything all the time to variety modes. Wow, Dunka finding a flute in Zelda Cell. That is a really nice find. Dunka is probably gonna go straight back over to Kakariko immediately and go activate it. This is really gonna help out his mobility here in the Light Worlds.
Seems to be screaming Misery Mire.
Yeah, that's actually you bring up also a very good point, because we already found, right, you mentioned the map and compass to Mire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, based on KillerApp's side, we did see the Mitts and Mini Moldron Cave. We are still missing, of course, a Pearl. That would, give us some Darkwood access, but yeah, a Flute, Mitts, a mirror, that would certainly help. But yeah, once we basically go to the Dark World, Mire's looking pretty good. And of course, with the sword that KillerApp also found in Ice Rock Cave, and combined potentially with that medallion, the Quake medallion that Dunka found in Agina's cave, yeah, Misery Mire could still be on the table. Now, of course, we still need another entry into Mire. We don't have the hook shot or the boots. Because there's this pretty dang big gap that we still can't get across, but yeah, it's definitely looking pretty spicy.
I think we're only giving us a 4% rebate on that.
Well, you know, he's got the peace of mind, and you know, one fewer thing to kind of weigh on his mind. You know, just like hopefully not the damn chest. All right, Dunka though, you know, pretty much a little bit less money than what KillerApp had over here. Oh, thank you, Grass Guard. I'm not sure if he necessarily wants to try and farm out the 100 rupees because he is, you know, 5 cave entries in versus, you know, KillerApp's 2. He might end up maybe like putting off Sora for the time being.
Yeah, definitely. Sometime, yeah, I can put away.
Yeah, it looks like the KillerApp is pretty interested in at least finishing up the front of Escape, so he will eventually get his way over to Zelda Cell, which does have her flute. And I guess I'm kind of curious to see if he will also, you know, do something similar to what Dunka's doing, or did, stated quit, activate his flute, versus at least taking a Death Warp and checking out what's in Dark Cross. Oh, Dunka, nice, like a nice ice rod shot. So those landed pretty well.
Alright, so Dunka's picking up the mitts now.
Yeah, maybe it's a, you know, it's a very small consequence, right? The fact that KillerApp went to Mini Moldorm Cave first, he does have a little bit of extra health, so Death Warping here will take a little bit longer, at least for KillerApp, if he so chooses to do so. So, where is that pearl that we're kind of looking for right now? You know, between yeah, looks like it. You know,
it's like a good place for it.
Yeah, and this is kind of seems like one of those locations where I guess like runners maybe don't tend to go to. You know, certainly at least in the early game, and it certainly is, you know, reasonable in that you don't really have any mobility, you don't have boots, you don't have. In this case, like, oh, we did find a flute kind of later on. Alright, so we did find a green pendant pod on Dunka's side.
Oh, nice mirror.
Man. Oh, yeah. Alright, so, okay, so this potentially, once we get that pearl, or you know, actually, are we potentially, you know, going over to the Maya area? Like, is a pearl in Checkerboard Cave now?
It could be.
Yeah, maybe this looks like this is exactly where Dunka's going. We, of course, with that mirror, we can also kind of backdoor into desert. Lots of options open here.
That is an interesting bunny sprite.
Yeah. Let's see what the peak is. It is Ether. Alright, so no immediate minor entry, it's just quite yet.
No, just a single arrow on the desert ledge.
Yeah, Dunka saw it and he turned straight right around. Alright, so we do know that the big key, you know, is not shuffled, only the maps and compasses are, so Dunka's going to give us a very quick check as to seeing that there is a compass of unknown origin. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Desert Palace compass, but it is certainly not Boots Law today. And I think Dunka then can be able to basically clear out this dungeon if he wants to.
As long as there's no Arcus in the back.
Oh yeah, that is true. You know, you're absolutely right. This is still boss Randomizer, so we have the ability to go back to, you know, the back of desert. Without boots though, it's kind of a longer trek. I don't know if, I guess in this case, yeah, you bring up a good point. I don't know if Dunka wants to kind of make that time investment, even though we do have everything we need to be able to access it.
And if it's Trinex, I mean, we really can't beat him with just fighter sword and no bottles. So we just got one from Dut on the right side.
Yeah, but it's not filled with anything, so we might be in a bit of a pickle, or a soda can, I guess in this case.
Yeah, KillerApp going with this frame. What is this bunny sprite?
Yeah, that is a creepy looking bunny sprite there. Alright, we got a quick map check too. I did see
6 Misery Mire and Turtle Rocker crystals, and there's a 5/6 in swoop.
Yeah, nice catch. That was actually a very fast map check. Yeah, but no, you know what? Our awesome tracker as well, Sammy Mas, she has basically caught everything, kept everything up here in line for us. She is one of our best trackers, so thank you so much.
Yeah, Dunka's gonna go to the boss. At least he has a mirror, so if Argus shows up here, you can just mirror out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's right. So in terms of bosses, there are actually a good number of bosses we can kill, and I think Dunkus is kind of like pressing his luck to see, could be a Mothula, could be a Blind, could be like Armos, and those a little bit slower, Landmos, and could be Vanilla. A lot of good options. Of course, we do see a Trinex. We're not going to have enough firepower to do so. If we see an Argus, we don't have the hook shot in order to kill it. But Dunka is looking to potentially, hopefully, claim his first, crystal. We don't still know if it's a crystal or pendant yet, but gonna find out shortly.
Oh, it's
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if you commit to this.
Oh wow!
8
This is
fighter sword.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
yeah. You know what?
okay.
Dunka. Yeah. Dunka's making a good call here. So this boss is technically beatable. If you're willing to spend like, I don't know, 5+ minutes here, or whatever it is, right? It is incredibly. You are quite a devotee of Desert Palace Betrayers if you're willing to basically spend the time to kill the fighter sword.
Alright, I think Bonka's gonna go back to checkerboard cave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's certainly very reasonable. Yeah, it looks like
And mirroring
maybe...
to dodge, get rid of the murder dashboard.
Yeah. Buddy's, Dark World hurts a lot. Yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, it looks like this is actually something that Dunka looks like he has chosen not to do. You actually see that because of this mirror, looks like maybe KillerApp did end up getting Super Bunny state. You press the mirror on the same frame, as entering. You can basically get Super Bunny state, and voila, we can open chest. And geez, what a nice sequence break! We got a mushroom, we got a master sword as well. Nice firepower. Certainly gonna make Vitreous a bit nicer for KillerApp if he chooses to go back there.
Yeah. Man, what's the kid got for us to hurt container?
Now, of course, keep in mind, we are going to eventually find that pearl. So while it is a sequence broken sword for KillerApp, it does give him an early sword advantage over Dunka. My guess is that once Dunka finds the pearl, Meyer's Shed is a pretty fast return. However, that being said, right, we don't really know where that pearl is, and certainly could be, a while, maybe depending on what KillerApp chooses to do with that sword.
KillerApp did a map check and we saw a crystal on Eastern Palace.
Cool. Alright, yeah, so that is more crystal pendant information. Yeah, we of course, doesn't actually look like we know any more pendants outside of Pod, which of course we saw from Dunka's side. You talked to Sahashala.
My screen share froze on the old man. What did he have?
Oh, I think money. It was nothing important. That's what I remember.
Okay. Down to 2 hearts.
Yeah, Dunka, please be careful. Now, of course, he did rescue the old man, so and a Death Mountain death would not, be the end of the world. It's still something that you would, kind of not like to repeat. Was that also money? Was it red rupee? Okay, cool. Yeah, our KillerApp's kind of, pressing his sequence broken mushroom. This of course could be, early advantage. Meanwhile, though, Dunka, is kind of finishing up his mirror location still, kind of going things in logic, right? With the flute, we have Death Mountain access, even though technically the old man wasn't in logic just yet, because we don't know where that lamp is. But Hera now is totally accessible with that mirror.
Yeah, so just a piece of art on that. Turn in KillerApp chose not to save scum it.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's also a good point too. Especially after he save and quit, from there. But hey, look, there's our pearl. And Hera! What a surprise!
Yeah, just a few floors lower than where it should be. So KillerApp bought a green potion.
Oh, I wonder if he's maybe thinking, yeah, looks like he's gonna go to the back, and maybe that potion is some, contingency plan for him. Speaking of, though, that early sword advantage, so while, KillerApp may actually choose to stay, in this case for Vitreous, just because he does have a Master Sword, and, Master Sword spins, at least, are a whole heck of a lot nicer than Fighter Sword spins, even though,
Sure.
still can take a while. Dunka, without that Master Sword, he is actually, going to be facing, looks like Moldorm bootsless, capeless, with Fighter Sword. Probably not the best fight in the world, but, we have confidence in Dunka.
Yeah, and we did pick up the small key, so there is an item in the basement.
Now, of course, yeah. So Dunka does have access to it. He has the fire rod, but it's again, this is a tile room thing. I don't know if he necessarily wants to do this. Maybe just to be more thorough. We are kind of still. He does have dark world access, but maybe the chances of him coming back here is kind of on the lower side. So he just wants to finish this place out.
And it's a Helmasaur King.
Oh, jeez. This is also not an easy fight. Helmasaur, of course, is certainly quite a challenging, boss already, in itself. The arena, just like kind of what Dunka is demonstrating, is extremely unfriendly, for adventurers. There are no guardrails. Just like when you get knocked off by Moldorm, Helmasaur has quite the recoil.
Yeah, no hammer either, although hammer can be a little risky. Fighting on a Moldorm platform too.
Yeah, actually, you bring up also a good point too. So Dunka only has 4 bombs left. It does take 5 bombs out of in order to break off the mask. So this might be Dunka's kind of like last attempt. Meanwhile, though, man, KillerApp is going to town basically on Vitreous. Looks like he has, basically taken the time to do all of his sword spins, trying to take out all of the eyes. He's gonna basically take Vitreous down for his, first dungeon clear. Dunka, yeah, I mean, this is a very hard fight. Like, using bombs for one to break off the mask is, extremely challenging because you basically see like the knockback. Basically, the bombs don't really stick. And hammer doesn't really help all that much either, just because you have such a recoil, from it. It is quite a big, basically, quite the boss fight. So not necessarily they're probably willing to come back here with a bit more resources.
KillerApp only getting a pendant out of that Vitreous spell.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good knowledge, at least for our side, or for us watching. Also probably good for KillerApp as well. We have found basically another pendant. So coupled with pod, there was only one outstanding. So hopefully it'll be a good, it'll be a good one.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what the basement is. That's another bottle.
Alright, it is another bottle. Also, coincidentally empty as well. I believe there was also an empty bottle in Desert. So that is 2 bottles now. And again, nothing fancy, asterisks related with the item pool. We do get to keep all 4 bottles. They don't always have to come empty. But it just happens to be this case that they did.
I think Dunka's gonna try to fight Vitreous maybe with those 2 blue potions. Or no, or gonna head into the dark world, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I was actually wondering if he wanted to kind of go back to Myra's Shed, just because he picked up the pearl from Hera, so now we can actually, get the Master Sword, which is logic. But looks like, though, Dunka, well, for those of you who might know Dunka, he has a mantra. Once he gets in the Dark World, and he is following it to a T. We are here in Skullwoods. Dunka, this is, Dunka's probably his absolute favorite location in terms of what he believes in the stats. Something good is going to be here.
Yeah, there's a little more checkdowns than usual, thanks to the map compass.
Oh yeah, that's also a good point too.
First item is a pod compass.
Yeah, looks like Dunka's not interested. I guess we can't kind of keep going on that side. Maybe Dunka's kind of thinking about how to route Skullwoods in this case, the fact that he does not have a key. Looks like he doesn't want. He at least wants to do the front first, and he's probably willing to drop down and try and maybe get out. Alright, meanwhile, the KillerApp, still no hook shot, just like Dunka. You know, we're gonna climb the tower the old-fashioned way. You know, none of this Hera pop business. Oh, hey, look at that! Front of Skullwoods holding out with some value already for Dunka. We've got flippers. And, well, okay, so technically, you know, I'm sure logically we do need flippers, you know, because between Ice Palace and Swamp Palace, one of them has to be a crystal, one of them has to be a pendant. But of course, you know, it is, especially if Swamp is a crystal, that is 100% required.
Yeah, we saw that from the map check.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks VXR. It's also marked on our trackers as well. So, oh man. Alright, just ignore everything I said. Those flippers are 100% required.
KillerApp got only 3 bombs, so he can't kill almost everything.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, and this is kind of, I think, you know, one of the, you know, I would say, like, benefits, you know, that we, at least as viewers, get to see, you know, from, you know, these, you know, top runners, you know, of Rando. It really kind of challenges you and puts you in some very creative situations that you may not, you know, otherwise face in, let's just say, a more, you know, standard, open, you know, NMG-esque type of settings, right? MC Boss Shuffle, especially, you know, on this type of equipment, Fighter Sword, / Master Sword, no hammer, you know, we're gonna do some, like, Bomb and Arrow Vitreous, or, sorry, not Vitreous, Helmasaur maybe? Certainly going to be, you know, quite the treat for us to be able to watch.
Yeah. Let's bring up Ice Palace is available now, but I don't think you really want to prioritize that if you don't have hammer hook shot.
Yeah, that is also a very reasonable point. We do have mitts, we do have flippers, soon to be on KillerApp side as well. So yeah, we can get in. But yeah, hammerless, hookless, Ice Palace. I'm thinking maybe our runners might want to consider some other options first.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Samaria-less too. That's right. Yeah, we might be missing a bunch. At least though we have the fire rod. That's better than Bombos. All right, though Dunka has made his way back to Skullwood, to the back of Skullwoods. It looks like KillerApp is potentially following suit here. And of course, you know, depending on kind of like what we see here in Macula's arena, KillerApp, of course, is going to have still a strong advantage over Macula.
Now, just because we saw a Helmasaur King in here, it doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to see a Helmasaur King here.
Yes, that is 100% correct. Yeah, and right, and just in terms of boss shuffle, right, so every single boss will show up at least once with 3 duplicates. We do not know where the duplicates are, but you know what? I guess the game doesn't have as much of a sense of humor, you know, because we just see Macula here, you know, in its original arena. Alright, so this is where those potions... Yeah, this is where those potions that Dunka has bought can really kind of help him out here. You just mentioned VXR. No hammer, no Master Sword that KillerApp has. You know, the Fire Rod right now is kind of our best bet against Macula for Dunka.
Hey, you're down to 200.
Yeah, Dunka, please help. Okay, alright, 1 potion down. Yeah, so these spikes also apparently seem to like to absorb fire rod shots. Oh, but nice job. That was actually quite the fight. So, all right, Dunka claims our first crystal. KillerApp very surely is going to claim his first crystal as well. 2nd dungeon completion. And, well, yeah, you did say that, you know, KillerApp does also have a potion too, right? And so, especially with that Master Sword, oh no! Alright, okay, we're gonna see the back of Skullwoods another time just because, you know, KillerApp has such a good time in the front. He's like, oh, let me go do it again. Okay, so when he eventually gets to Macula, he is gonna have, hopefully gonna be an easier time, you know, versus Duncan's Fighter Sword.
I guess KillerApp's trying to have as much magic as possible. Maybe if there's, maybe he's thinking if there's a cold stare there.
Oh yeah, that's also a very good point as well. Yeah, cold stare 100% possible here in the back of Skull Woods. And, you know, we don't have Bombo, so we're and, like, no half magic or anything like that, so if cold stare is back here... You know, speaking of half magic, we found the big key in its vanilla location, and, well, half magic would have been really pretty nice for Dunka, you know, 30 seconds ago. Alright, looks like though, yeah, KillerApp unfortunately had sword beams kind of start with, and it only does spider sword damage, but looks like, you know, basically got rid of them just in the nick of time, taking down, yeah, significantly faster fight, of course, just because of that master sword as well, but still, that is his first crystal. Really? Okay, so looks like a Dunka checked the bumper ledge, and we do see some fancy footwear. VXR, where's that cape? It's here in Graveyard Ledge, right?
Maybe.
Maybe? We can hope. Sadly, that is not even the right color. Dunka, even though he is only on 3 bombs, he is not even going to take the time to pick them up. Instead, we're just gonna farm out a couple more bombs here in Graveyard Ledge, maybe in preparation for some more mystery bosses. So, where in this case, we still have a lot of questions in this case to ask, but we still don't have full pendant crystal knowledge, even though there is only kind of like one pendant outstanding, you know, from both sides. We are still missing quite a lot of stuff. Most notably, of course, we just see the boots. Even though they may not be logically required, we really would like to have them, especially hopefully before, let's say, like, you know, the seed ends, or like maybe, you know, the hour mark. We are, of course, still missing the hammer. You know, we see that, you know, while Dunka does have the mitts and KillerApp has the mitts, while it is a very convenient Dark World entry location, in order to basically get to Dark World from Kakariko, we can basically take the shortcut. It is unfortunately not as convenient because that is our, unfortunately, only Dark World entry. So we would really like to be able to have a bit more, you know, flexibility for when we kind of start out in the Dark World. Yeah, and I think to answer your question, chat, do maps and compasses affect the logic? So I believe in this mode, you the map and compass should be logically available before the boss. So actually could end up giving you potentially a little bit more information depending on what you have and haven't found. Yeah, also speaking of, we did find the lamp here. At least in KillerApp side, so presumably Duncan's gonna get this very shortly, you know, after after he kind of clears out the rest of Thieves Town. Oh yeah, Vertex making a good correction. You're right. So it can be on the boss, but I think so. It's what, dungeon completion. A bit more of a stretch. Alright, so Dunka, yeah, Dunka taking advantage of a boss Randomizer, you know, that basically means that, you know, we don't have to go blow up the attic or anything like that. There is technically no maiden to go rescue and bring her to the light. We can basically just go straight from the boss, even, you know, in this case, if it would be a vanilla blind. But, you know, Dunka finding out some early information that we are going to hard require that hook shot, at least. Well, for multiple reasons. One is, of course, Swamp Palace being a crystal, and also, we just found an Arceus, so back up these.
No.
I guess I'm kind of curious to see if KillerApp will also kind of follow in Dunka's footsteps here. Checking the front four of thieves is a very, probably standard, typical play. Going to check the boss, in Thieves Town because it's so easily accessible. Also pretty standard. Going and finishing up the back of Thieves Town, especially without the hammer, that is going to be probably a bit more questionable. Certainly, if KillerApp chooses to do so, though, it would be, a little bit more information for us, but also quite a bit of divergence. Dunka deciding to do the dig game. Presumably this is also being in combination with the Smith chain. We do have the mints, we do have the mirror. Dunka definitely avoiding that 20 rupees is going to cost him all this like extra animation time. And of course we do have the mirror as well. So, presumably Smith chain into, K45, into Stumpy, onto turn in the purple chest into Hype Cave. Now, of course, no hammer for either side means the hammer pegs, unfortunately, is going to kind of sit there by its lonesome. Oh, KillerApp though, he is definitely a bit more shorter on cash than Dunka is, so he's even going to take the time to not only pick up the 20 rupees, but he's even digging for a little bit more money. Potentially has Palace of Darkness on his mind. In this case, we do need 110 rupees to get in, one way or another. This might be KillerApp's kind of opportunity to try and farm up a little bit more cash. Alright, so KillerApp though, just following in this case Dunka's footsteps. Unfortunately, right, we had, spotted the boots. They are in plain sight. We just need an invisibility cape in order to go get our awesome footwear. So we're, at least until the time being, we ended up finding that cape, hopefully, like, not in, GT or something like that, or we just never see it. We're going to, be holding right an awful lot.
Yeah.
Alright, well, so Dunka's, basically, finding 20 rupees after 20 rupees, so it looks like at least, KillerApp, even if he hadn't kind of, like, taken extra, like 10 to 15 seconds trying to farm up a little bit more cash from the game, he probably would be okay. Dunka, finally, we have walked the purple chest all the way over here to get. Oh, that is very useful. Finally, some perseverance has paid off both for Dunka and KillerApp. The long, arduous journey to lead the purple chest back to the locksmith finally has yielded at least some sort of progression item, a cane of Samaria.
Yeah, that's weird.
Finally. Seemed actually quite dry for quite a while here. Now, of course, so Canis Mari, did mention Big Star way earlier back. Meyer looked pretty suspicious. Canis Mari is just kind of another piece of the puzzle. Of course, we're still missing, hookshot or boost in order to get in, but certainly going to be really glad to be able to see that. Oh man. Alright, so Hype Cave definitely not worth it. I think it was basically like a bank at this point. I think the NPC basically gave you, withdrew all of his savings before, and then it's like, oh, what's left in the vault? And it's just a couple of spare rupees basically for our troubles. Alright, so meanwhile, it looks like Dunka is not willing to kind of dip out the first chest of Swamp. Of course, it is still a pretty big time commitment, but it is, still open to us. We do have the mirror. We do have, the flippers. I am curious to see what KillerApp does, because he has an additional check to him, because apparently he never checked the damn chest. Looks like he is going to, in this case, skip out it for the time being. Alright, Dunka checking out, basically blind grabbing a map on like Highlight Island, and with the flippers, of course, all the flipper checks that KillerApp had already done previously are now, of course, totally in logic. Dunka just has not gotten an opportunity to kind of go over here yet. Of course, with the mirror and the flippers, Hobo becomes a well, slightly nicer check, less tedious. And of course, being able to keep his portal, Dunka, pretty nice route actually. Being able to basically, go here, warp back to the Dark World, check potentially Pyramid into Pod, or maybe just Pod. Guess we'll have to see. Ooh, KillerApp though, giving us a little bit extra knowledge. Thieves Town and Swamp are the rest of our 5-6 crystals. Alright, so that's another crystal here that we have knowledge about. So it looks like outstanding is going to be Hera or Ice Palace is going to be our last planet. Oh, Dunka finds Blue Mail. So we're going to see a slightly pinkish, purplish, bluish, ultros. I have no idea what color that is. Always kind of nice to be able to see blue mail or any type of like mail upgrade safeties after you get the mirror, just because before the mirror, especially, let's say you go into Pod, death warping is quite the chore, and especially if you, basically are, every single damage piece is like halved. Looks like the Dunka, he hasn't done any of the flipper checks, so this is actually going to be really efficient for him. He can combine Catfish and Zora and Waterfall all in one go, and then presumably he'll go somewhere else. KillerApp, though, has already kind of done, the out of sequence, at least for him at the time, flipper checks. Not really much more motivation to kind of go up there, so it looks like we're going to go be taking a peek into Pod.
Yeah.
I almost thought Dunka was gonna grab it, but no, that was just quite the bait. Dunka says no to the blue boomerang.
Ooh.
Oh, hey, that's Bombos. Alright, meanwhile though, KillerApp is in Pod, I certainly, just like probably with many other dungeons, for example, like Eastern Palace, for example, people are certainly still very much opinionated about Pod, especially Pod, maybe Pendant Pod. This especially being the green pendant as well, so there's even an extra item available. Of course, no bow, means that we can't actually complete the dungeon if we wanted to. And yes, not only is the bow is required, for the boss itself, it is hard required to get to the back of Pod with it. And of course, this also is not like tournament hard mode. Again, nothing super fancy about the item set. There are the bows are progressive, and there are 2 of them out there. So, would we be necessarily surprised to see a bow in Pod? Of course not. Would we be surprised to see a hammer in Pod? Also, of course not. Well, I guess in this case, KillerApp's going to give us a bit more exploration. Meanwhile, Dunka back in the mire area. Maybe this is going to when we finally get our upgraded Master Sword. Nice mirror delete. Dunka. Yeah, and of course Dunka's got the mushroom. He's like, oh. Although he did use a potion, and he did get another bottle. I believe it was empty. So there actually might be some more incentive for Dunka to go back to the potion shop. But he has remembered in this case that there is a Vitreous back here in Desert that he absolutely and probably correctly noped out for at the time because he was only on Fighter Sword. Master Sword is a significant upgrade. Not really sure, looking kind of at our trackers, if there's anything really else that can help him, but I mean, we did see a very nicely done Vitreous kill on KillerApp's side with the Master Sword, so certainly wouldn't probably expect any less than Dunka. That might have been some muscle memory there on Dunka's side. Oh, he also remembering that we have a Cane of Samaria that we Cane of Burna that we pulled out of Thieves Town. Alright, so this is gonna be quite well, speed challenging. Dunka is staying absolutely safe, but you can kind of tell just how much the game is thinking about, you know, trying to process out all of the sparkles and the rest of the execution.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. Basically, this is a slash to win on Dunka's side. We've got, you know, he basically also was trying to hit the big eyeball as much as he possibly could with all those other sword slashes for the smaller eyeballs, but yeah, this is basically just Dunka gonna spam out that sword. And be rewarded with 20 rupees and a red pendant. Alright, yeah, meanwhile though, looks like, you know, KillerApp unfortunately did not find much value in Pod. Looks like though we're gonna have to hope that Sphere, I don't know, I mean, one-ish, you know, Eastern Palace is gonna hopefully, you know, give us a bit more help. Of course, there is also still no bow. It means that we still cannot get back to the boss of Eastern Palace. I don't even think that we have done any like map checks either, you know, for inside the dungeons. So we actually still don't know what's in the back of Eastern Palace. Dunka looks like he has also the right idea, and so those of you who are believers of Eastern Palace, so we have found our hammer in the compass chest. This hopefully neither runner feels too bad about this, because I guess I don't know what, you know, each other knows about their you know, potential, I guess, like feelings about Eastern Palace, but it's never a really great feeling when you leave, you know, potentially like a Sphere 1 or Sphere 2 check especially for 15 minutes now, and, you know, thinking that, you know, oh man, did my opponent come to Eastern Palace early? Like, they could have just had the hammer for so long.
Yeah, I'm gonna get seeing those Eastern Palace chats. Yeah, Korak on the right mind.
That is probably one of my more favorite fast emotes. Alright, looks like KillerApp though, you know, he's found the major prize of Eastern Palace. Dunka will basically find this, you know, very shortly, and unfortunately no hookshot means that we can't really take a shortcut over to the map chest. But yeah, with that hammer, it looks like, you know, world is actually quite open to us now. So, you know, so I think people were talking about potentially Ice Palace, you know, being available, so we do have a hammer now.
Although, KillerApp did a map check, and Hera is a crystal, which means Ice Palace is her last pendant.
Oh, yeah, that's also a good catch, man. So fixated on that hammer. Totally missed that last check. So yeah, in that case, you know, if crystal is, if we have crystal Hera, it's really very reasonable for KillerApp to kind of go back up there. And in fact, actually, then I don't know how appetizing, you know, Swamp Palace is right now. Like, we do have entry into this, but we of course are still missing that hook shot, so maybe not necessarily like the best choice. But yeah, we are still kind of missing a couple items out of Hera. And then with the hammer, and KillerApp in this case has 10 bombs. Hopefully, you know, Helmasaur is going to be okay to deal with on top.
Yeah. Okay, gotta check East stuff now first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is super reasonable as well. I think KillerApp's probably already, you know, hoping in this case maybe I'll find a tempered sword, maybe I'll find a cape, maybe I'll find a hook shot. Yeah. Oh, and yet also, unfortunately, man, those dead rocks. So unfortunately, blocking his way, his view of the floating island, just a compass. So probably won't get that. But it looks like actually KillerApp not only wants to kind of scout out what Turtle Rock is in terms of entry medallion requirements. You know, the fact that we're here with Mitz and Mir means that all of this mountain basically is available to us.
Yeah. That's Bombos.
It is Bombo. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I guess looks like maybe KillerApp didn't do Waterfall Fairy? Oh, maybe he chose to do it instead of Ho-Ho? But yeah, like that actually means that he does eventually need to make his way over there in order to go get Bombos.
Yeah, and looks like we can clear out Turtle Rock, assuming there's not a second Argus.
That is a excellent point. No pro means no water walk, means no waterfall fairy chest.
Right, no one checked the back of Thieves Town.
Correct, right. No, right. So both KillerApp and Dunka just did the front four. Went straight to the boss. Saw that it was Argus. No hook shot. Went straight out. And not willing in this case to do the front of Thieves Town again, especially walking, in order to try and explore out the back. Dunka, though, looks like he is 100% committed in order to try and get some revenge on Helmasaur up top with the Master Stone. Oh no,
Whoops.
Dunka. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dunka. At least he landed inside the peg, so he didn't have to do anything in this case.
Right.
He just goes straight in.
We got a bug net out of a spiral cave.
Okay. You know, especially for, you know, boss shuffle, you probably won't turn down a bug net, right? You know, free fairies, basically, you know, what you can basically catch in a dungeon if you really need that extra safety.
Alright, let's see what Paradox Cave has for us.
Nothing good so far. A couple bonds, heart piece, although we did get a 13th heart on KillerApp side. Yeah, and we can also tell that there's no compass here, no counter for Hera. Otherwise, though, Dunka is ready to take his revenge.
Hey, a bow.
There is our first bow here in Paradox Cave. Alright, so the fact that Dunka has not gone over to Pod, Pod, he's gone over to Eastern, potentially might be able to save some time here on KillerApp if he doesn't kind of go dip in. Alright, Dunka taking very good care to try and not fall. That bow actually that KillerApp has is actually going to give him probably a little bit more of a time advantage, just because a bow is a ranged weapon. You see that Dunka is really trying to avoid that middle hole in order to fall, right? And also getting knocked back from Helma. But Dunka is certainly, you know, quite someone who's very patient.
Alright, there we go.
Yeah, nicely done on Dunka's side, basically, you know, staying on the platform is probably the most important part. And of course, we know that this is a crystal, so Dunka is going to be 1 gem richer. Yeah, this Hera Beetle's room is not kind, apparently, to either Dunka or KillerApp. KillerApp didn't have to fall this time, but, you know, those beetles definitely were being bullies. Yeah, meanwhile though, KillerApp also kind of probably finishing up Hera, and right, this is also his kind of second go. No compass means that we could not actually find out that it was Helmasaur up top. So when we got here the first time, you know, Dunka unfortunately got knocked off, tried to do, you know, basically break out the Helma's mask with like 5 or 6 bombs, something like that. And KillerApp didn't even have enough ammunition, so this is definitely, you know, a second trip for both of them. Okay, Dunka, yeah, having visited Waterfall, he has the Bombos medallion, so he is certainly at least going to be able to open up Turtle Rock. We have... are we scary? Oh, he's just... Help just camping there, jeez.
He's still on green mail, he hasn't gotten the
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true, he hasn't gone over to Pyramid. Yeah, for those of you who might have, you know, been more familiar with like the MG set, Helmasaur does do 2 hearts of damage for like everything. KillerApp, please. Stay alive.
All he's got is a green potion.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping maybe he can try and like use his cane to burn it. He does have a lot of magic. But I guess he needs to be able to use bombs first or a hammer. And so, yeah, they may not actually be that great. Oh, but the mask is down? Alright, so KillerApp is just gonna hope that- No! No! Helma rushed KillerApp, unfortunately, and he was just too close. Okay, you know what, but
climb all the way back up again.
Yeah, this is actually going to be quite, you know, like a painful death. You know, typically speaking, you know, even dying to like Moldorm in the regular game, you know, with not boss shuffle, it's still going to be quite the trek up here. But I mean, you know, at least Moldorm doesn't take that long to kill. You kind of see basically, you know, the perseverance that both Dunka and KillerApp will need in order to take down Helma. You know, it's not like the mask, you know, stays off in this case, right? He's gonna have to repeat the whole fight again.
Yeah.
But you know, KillerApp, undeterred. You know, and this is also part of you know being in you know top 64 for brackets. You really don't kind of like get to this position without basically not only being kind of like physically fit in order to play this game very well, but also kind of like mentally fit, right? Especially when you take you know a death, a fall, something doesn't go right. Maybe you know went to an item location, made the wrong decision, didn't really get much progression out of it. Really, you know, just basically keep your head, you know, in the cool and just continue to play the game. Exactly what KillerApp is doing.
Alright, so Dunka's now got the bow.
Helma is so big, he just fits right over that hole. I think KillerApp would like for him to come back down. Thank you, sir. Yeah, KillerApp here is really trying in order to, you know, kind of take his time with Helma. You know, we guys see that he is on 4 hearts, so he can really, you know, only just take 1 more hit. Again, green mail, 2 hearts worth of damage. Just needs to be very careful.
Just gotta take it slowly.
Yeah, and whenever, in this case, Helmasaur basically, you know, shoots out those fireballs, that is like the worst patterns you want to see. Menu buffers are certainly going to, you know, help out a bit, just because you get a little bit of extra time to think. Oh my gosh, this tail, dude.
Oh. Okay,
he does have
he does
potion!
okay,
Wait, what? He didn't want to use it the first time? Okay. I guess maybe he wanted to save it for a bit later, but in this case, yeah, taking another Helma death would probably, you know, not be great for morale. And time, for that matter. But yeah, alright, Helma down for KillerApp's side. This is a very difficult and hard-earned second crystal for him.
Alright, so Dunka's going through Treyarch. You don't have the compass, so you don't know if there's another Argus thing at the end. Oh, never mind. If there's an Argus here, we can beat him. I think just Ether and possibly Cape from Go mode.
Oh, yeah. We're still looking for that cape, huh? I mean, I really hope for both of our runners' sake that they do find the cape, because, you know, we are slightly over the hour mark at this point. Think of all the trials and tribulations that both Dunka and KillerApp has gone through, right? Multiple, you know, boss attempts, you know, basically on, you know, lowish percent equipment, right? Fighter's Sword Vitreous that Dunka kind of noped down on. Helmasaur in the Hera Arena, quite the challenge, you know, for both Dunka and KillerApp. There's kind of like not very much that can really help you out with that. And yeah, like our runners hopefully can get some solace by finding that cape, which of course would unlock the boots, which are sitting on Bumper Ledge.
And KillerApp looks like he's gonna finish up Pod, maybe? With that green pendant.
Oh yeah, that's also a good point as well. Yeah, so KillerApp's kind of already invested some of his time into Pod, with, of course, no hammer and no bow, so couldn't really necessarily kind of get all of the value out of Pod, but looks like we are at least going to finish up the investment. You know, coming back here, at least the hammer was in Eastern Palace, and we of course got our first bow out of Paradox Cave, and so KillerApp probably is looking to at least finish up Eastern Palace. That is a gnome crystal. Take down Helmasaur, oh sorry, go to the back of Pod, finish up Palace of Darkness, and find the boss that is Armos Knights, and then potentially turn in that green pendant to go find something. Oh, are we not going outside on Dunka's part?
Interesting move.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is. Maybe Dunka knows something that we don't.
We don't have ether.
And Dunka should know that because he checked Meyer. I wonder if Dunka maybe is trying to cut a corner or something. I mean, you know, there were definitely some, again, very challenging boss fights, you know, that Dunka had ended up doing. Maybe this is kind of his way of trying to claw some of the time back. I mean, of course, you know, Dunka can't see KillerApp's screen, KillerApp's screen can't see Dunka's screen. You know, he doesn't, you know, neither runner kind of knows, right, in this case, like, what the other's gone through. Just, it turns out that both runners struggled quite a bit, basically with what the seat was giving them. Alright, Dunka also looks like he's taking no chances. Got half magic from Skull Woods, you know, his absolute favorite location. We are going to use that half magic with the Cane of Burna. If only that Cane of Burna was a cape. Oh.
Alright, at least we got, okay, at least we got blue mail. Okay, the lasers will do 2 arts. Ooh, nice silvers.
Yeah, nice silvers. It's actually going to be quite nice to see. We are only on Master Sword, so silver arrows. Man, all of these nice things, DXR. Like, we're finding after we fight these, like, difficult bosses, right? So, like, Duncan had 0 bows, by the way, right? When he went to go fight Helma for the second phase. And, you know, like, we saw the KillerApps, well, you know, the bow is very helpful. Like, silvers would have been even more helpful because you only needed 1 arrow as opposed to, like, the 8. And of course, you know, Dunka and KillerApp both fought Vitreous in the back of Desert. You know, silver arrows certainly would have, even regular arrows would have helped out a ton.
What's setting it back here? Landmollas.
Yeah, looks like Landmos. We've got half magic, silvers, Dunka. Both rods. You know, Dunka can pretty much do whatever he wants. Speaking of silvers that KillerApp is not going to have, we're here with Armos Knights. Can't really set up like a convenient quick kill with at least the wooden arrows. KillerApp, of course, basically just spams out his bow and takes Armos down for his second pendant. Meanwhile, Dunka has claimed his, let's see, 1, 2, 3rd crystal already. Okay, where's that cape, dude? Like, we're looking for that. We're looking for that cape. Yeah. You know, I don't necessarily know if it's like muscle memory. Oh, we did find a hookshot. We found a hookshot in Turtle Rock. I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it might have been muscle memory. No, sorry. Yeah, it might have been muscle memory to kind of switch over to hookshot so we get like hook dash out. But yeah, Duncan's going to hookshot cave immediately.
Alright, KillerApp's gonna have my hammer yum. Oh, there's ether.
Oh, alright, man. So is that is that Goma for Dunka?
21 out of 22.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point. Like, so of course, big keys are not shuffled as we've seen for every dungeon, so we still don't technically know where that GT big key is. Could be on the torch, but I think, you know, Dunka's at least initial decision, well, hopefully, has paid off in order to skip kind of like the outside of Turtle Rock. Hopefully, there was no cape there. But yeah, Dunka basically now is going to be in dungeon clearing mode. Of course, we would really like to have, let's say, you know, a sword, temper sword would make things a little bit nicer, well, actually a lot nicer, but of course silver's kind of like offset that. If we do find a cape, I would very reasonably see Dunka kind of coming back to North Dark World in order to get the boots. But yeah, other than that, Dunka's ready to go.
And you're definitely not checking the back at Beach Town looking
Oh,
for cave.
oh yeah, that is 100% true. Oh yeah, right. The reason why I brought up the cape is because we saw the boots on Bumper Ledge, and you know, after everything that these runners have gone through, it would really be great if they could get the cape so they can get the boots, so they can at least have a little bit of fun. Alright, Dunka also kind of showing one of the reasons why we would actually really like to have a Tempered Sword for Argus. Master Sword is, of course, what is intended to have when you play like the vanilla game straight through casually, and every single one of these pops takes 2 slashes, but of course we have the Tempered Sword, it only takes 1.
Other torch was a compass.
Yeah, it was a compass. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which could be important for logic purposes if the GT Big Key is on the torch.
Oh yeah, that's true. KillerApp. Unfortunately, nice recovery though. Looks like he didn't quite get the quick double readies kill, but at least manages to land in his arrows just in the nick of time. And what do we have here?
Oh, a second Helmosaur King.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you know, like the Helmosaur Armos actually has just kind of like swapped world locations, right? We saw Armos in Pod, and we see here another Helmosaur in Eastern. Significantly easier, by the way, in this one than the one up in Hera. Don't see, you know, any holes that we can fall into. There's no, you know, like ricochet or anything we can worry about. KillerApp that looks like he is at least going to be tried and true with that Master Sword spins. Not really interested in using his bow and arrow, but this is going to be, you know, his next Crystal Dungeon done. Meanwhile, Dunka, with the hookshot we have in Eternal Rock, you will give him access, logical access into Mire. So from Dunka's screen, being in Misery Mire, we do see a 0 out of 8 counter, so it does mean that we do have the compass, but of course at this point, Dunka being go mode, probably not too much of a reason to actually do a map check. I mean, unless he kind of like wants to, I don't know, like mentally prepare, I guess, for the boss. He is able to kill everything that he comes across, so may as well just save himself like the couple of extra seconds, and then, you know, just be, you know, pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised. Meanwhile, KillerApp though is going to turn in the Screen Pendant. What do we have? A Heart Container. Does not actually look like that Pod was really worth our time here today.
Here's a container.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of safety here in Mire. Not that probably Dunka's going to complain, but not something I guess we're kind of looking for. Right, and kind of depending on where that big key is, you know, especially if it's in its vanilla location, it is going to be a little bit more time investment, but just because then kind of it would indicate then that there wouldn't be at least as much variance, you know, between Dunka and KillerApp in terms of clearing out Mire. You know, you're almost certainly going to probably do, you know, the cutscene chests, if not the last check that you do, one of the last ones.
If KillerApp wants to pick up his Pepsi can. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. By the way, yeah, shout out to all of our sprite creators. I think this was also mentioned before, right? So, I mean, just like the creativity, you know, you can't really see the Pepsi can unless you kind of like, you know, does like, yeah, sidewalk or a sword slash. But man, all right. So green mail is Sprite. You know, blue mail is Pepsi, and of course, red mail would be Coke. We're not actually sponsored by any of them, by the way, but I think it's just very creative.
Can's bunny looked like a... I mean, it was the shape of a bunny. It looked pretty weird.
Yeah, that is true. It looked like it was not a soda can. I can say that for sure.
We did see the bunny sprite earlier.
Yeah, it looked like a patchy, ghosty, like not necessarily like zombie per se, but it was definitely not something that resembled any type of beverage.
Phase no, not the Coat Gaming.
Alright, so KillerApp looks like he is making at least a delayed trip over here to Catfish Sora, or Catfish Waterfall. So chances are maybe he's gonna do the same thing as Dunka, not pick up the blue boomerang that Catfish is gonna try and give us, and then he will pick up his Bombos medallion. He already has the mirror out, so.
Alright, KillerApp's gonna get the Bombos now.
Alright, so I think he was not too happy with the decision, because he certainly knows he was over here much earlier checking Sora, but I think it was, as mentioned before, unfortunately no good way in order to be able to access the waterfall chairs, and of course we get Dead Rock on the way.
No.
Are we surprised? This is the Death Mountain treatment, of course. But yeah.
Set of Armistice.
Yeah, Dunka is like, I've got silver arrows for you guys this time around. You don't stand a chance. At least, Dunka, and KillerApp, by the way, both of them, pay their dues, especially early on this seed. Some really challenging boss fights that they just basically persevere through. And now, to some extent, the game, it kind of is rewarding them, with silvers, to this extent. So at least, the later bosses come a little bit nicer.
Alright, now off to Flaunt Palace.
Yeah, I think right now Dunka is probably just in dungeon go mode. Dungeon cleanup. So we are still on Master Sword on both KillerApp and Dunka's side. Of course, we did see on KillerApp's side there wasn't kind of much value left in Eastern Palace in terms of more nicer upgrades. So it's very possible that Dunka would check a couple chests on his way. Maybe Waterfall Fairy, the Flooded Room chest. Actually, Dunka doesn't do Diver Down, so maybe he won't check those. Chests. But basically, yeah, if something is on the way, right? Certainly could be.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a sword, right?
Or cave.
Or yeah, 100%. How could I forget about the cave, dude? He does not do Diver Down. It is actually one of the things that Dunka just basically has not taken the time to invest in. The reason why he invested in Icebreaker specifically is just because it just saves so much time. So it was kind of worth his attention. But I mean, Diver Down honestly in the back is not too bad, right? Alright, so KillerApp, I was gonna say, but that delayed Bombos medallion though, especially kind of without, I would say, any real movement, boots movement, probably end up kind of really slowing down KillerApp for a little bit, just because he has to make yet another trip kind of up the mountain in order to come back into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and getting the Catfish is pretty slow without boots. Oh, KillerApp remembering. Gotta go this way.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, he actually recovered pretty well, right? So you always want to kind of try and take the upper route. More often than not, you're here with the hook shot, right? So it's just going to be muscle memory, but he remembered that he does not have that luxury. But you know what? He's going to be so rewarded by having the hook shot basically beat. No!
Whoops! Oh, that's alright. That's alright.
No, go back. Does he have time to do this?
Oh wait, we had the doors. Okay, just enough.
Oh, phew. Okay, that would have been a little bit more frustrating. Alright, yeah, of course, Gabe has a sense of humor, putting the hook shot directly after when we want to use it.
Yeah, those empty bottles and all those big key chests are also pretty humorous in the game.
Yeah, that's true too. Alright, yeah, so Dunka here, yeah, so as seen, you know, we have some of the more rarer sightings of not diver down here in random, and yeah, just kind of as a consequence, right, if you do diver down, you do kind of get a free access to those flooded chests. Dunka, of course, in this case, does not. Gonna do check the waterfall chest, just 3 more bombs that he doesn't need. So we're gonna hope in this case to see what what is in the back of Swamp Palace here.
Yeah, if there's any outs for KillerApp, that could be one of the capes there. I feel like KillerApp will probably check those just in case. And it's just a 2-eyed Moldorm.
I know, it's so, dude, it's like, you know, we saw a vanilla Mothula, you know, with not even like any extra like spots or eyes or anything, and now here we are, you know, not even a, you know, 8-eyed, 1-eyed Moldorm. We're just here. Well, in this case, basically see, you know, regular Moldorm here in Argus.
Alright, so now we have this game we like to do.
Are we going to GT right now? I think we have one more dungeon.
Oh wait, I jumped the gun, sorry.
sorry, chat.
Okay, you're
not quite there yet. Yeah, Dunka just needs to make a quick hop skip over to Eastern Palace and take down Helmasaur, the easier version of Helmasaur.
For some reason, that was 7th first goal.
Yeah, no. I mean, no. We're just too excited, basically, you know, for everyone to be finishing up the seed. But don't worry, Dunka will finish this as fast as he possibly could, you know, get those tentacles to carry him over there.
You know, thing not possible GT bosses, we've yet to see a Trinex.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, we haven't even really taken much stock, actually, of all the different bosses that we've seen. We have not seen any Trinexes. Also, KillerApp has also decided to invest his time into the outside of Turtle Rock. This is actually something Duncan did not do, so hopefully Duncan will not be punched too hard. Okay, so this first chest is only 10 arrows. Oh, Duncan definitely won't miss that. The hard part might be just, you know, the cape is here in the big chest. That would be very, very sad for Duncan. Or maybe a sword, actually, for that matter. Aw, just a small key. Yeah, but actually, yeah, maybe we can try and take a restock, I guess, on the different bosses. So we saw Helmasaur twice already, you know, once, well, coming up for Dunka in the back of Eastern Palace, and Hera. We did see Vitreous in the back of Desert. We saw Armos both in Mire and Pod. We saw Moldorm in Swamp Palace. We saw Mothula in Skull Woods, and we saw Argus in Thieves Town. So yeah, there's actually some, you know, so we don't know, of course, what's in Ice Palace. No one has basically set foot there, not that anyone probably wants to. And yeah, we have 3 more bosses basically, you know, for GT. That potentially, you know, we will still have to go fix.
Yeah, I haven't seen a Trinex, I haven't seen a Cold Stare. Haven't seen Blind.
Oh yeah, that's true, we haven't seen Blind.
And I don't think, the only place Blind can be in GT is, I think, on Ice.
Yeah, let's think about it. Right, so the 3 spots in GT are the Moldorm 2 arena, which Blind cannot be in. Just the platform is kind of wonky. And there is also Ice Lemos 2. So I think Blind can be there, right?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay. It certainly could be in the Desert arena, so I guess I just kind of assumed that Blind could also be there. But I guess we're gonna find out. Yeah.
Maybe it's the fireball thing that's walking on mode. Alright, now quit your guesses. Check.
Oh, yeah. Alright, yeah. So, right, see, Dunk was so fast, you basically cleared out, you know, Eastern Palace with Helmasaur. We're finally ready to go back to GT, or to go up the mountain again. So feel free to take your guesses as to, you know, where you think that GT Picky is, and especially if we're going to try and, you know, go for some Ice Armos energy here, this is the time to really channel it off of Dunka. You do kind of wonder, though, like, Dunka have all those tentacles, right? And, you know, you think we need more boots? Like, you know, because there's only just like one pair, right? But he's like got eight tentacles or something. Alright, so KillerApp though, making his way basically over to Landmillis, picking up his next crystal. He did pick up the hook shot, of course, you know, from the roller room, and that basically is his also go mode. Unfortunately though, like, just because kind of like how much he has done, and partially also, you know, kind of delayed with the fact that, you know, he kind of decided to also invest his time in Pod, delayed his Bombos Medallion pickup from Waterfall Fairy, does actually put him a little bit behind here versus Dunka. Right, I spoke a little bit too soon. Ether here is in Hookshot Cave, which will be his absolute go mode. Minus, of course, if we're going to see if we need those boots or not.
And KillerApp's now in 21 out of 22 go mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so KillerApp, he just needs to finish up Swamp Palace and Mire. I don't believe the big key was super late in Mire as well. Certainly was not in the cutscene chest, so certainly won't be too much time invested in that dungeon. And of course, we just see Dunka basically just go straight to the back and swap. And potentially, you know, I would certainly imagine KillerApp would also do Diver Down, or sorry, would do Diver Down as opposed to Dunka, so we might get a couple more checks on KillerApp's side in Swamp Palace.
Alright, Dunka, which way are you gonna go?
Yeah, this is gonna be quite exciting. Dunka is at least
gonna go right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think this might be a hope room only, and then go immediately to the torch.
We can't go right if we want. Oh, never mind.
Never mind. All right, so yeah. All right, so hope room. You know, really living up to his name. Our prayers have been answered, I think. Well, there's a small key and a big key. Dunka's climbing. We don't even care at this point.
Nobody in chat guessed 2, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I guess, you know, for Dunka and presumably KillerApp as well, this is going to be a Master Sword Silver's climb. At the very least, Dunka really wanted that berry. Of course, you know, there are, what, 4 more chests up here in Upstairs GT, which, of course, still could have a sword for us, but in terms of the climb, well, we're gonna be well, walking as fast as we can at this point. Yeah, it looks like the KillerApp is a bit more interested in maybe checking out an extra check or two, just maybe he can find, in this case, you know, like a sword, a cape, something that could kind of help him out here in Swamp. I guess I'm kind of curious to see if he decides to check also the compass chest, which is like the bottom one, because he did take the time to open up the map chest as well, which of course we did not see Dunka do. Yeah, that half magic again. You know, Dunka is a big fan of Skull Woods. We got the fire rod and Vimos, stop, please. Dunka also live, please. Oh my gosh, Dunka, please.
Okay, you got a blue potion.
Yeah, we're really, you know, cutting it kind of close here. And of course, you know, good thing that Dunka also does have a green potion. You know, even though we do have half magic. We probably would not.
Oh, we got a Trinex.
Oh, nice! Finally, a good thing we have half magic. All right. So step number 1 is we're going to try and shoot the firehead with the ice rod. And of course, you know, only being on Master Sword, Hammer is probably going to be our best bet. You know, Dunka is certainly not worried too much about quick swapping. The menu is also going to kind of try and like help him out, give him a little bit of extra time.
Does have green potion, but does not.
Oh my gosh! So this fight does not look pleasant. Dunka, please do not die here. Oh jeez, thank you, Fire Shield. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Oh.
Oh my gosh, Dunka. So he is on blue mail, but everything is he is in 1-hit KO mode. All the heads do 3 hearts right now. Oh my gosh, Dunka. Okay, so the good news, of course, is that if Dunka just needs to kill the first phase, he does not have to worry about the second phase. Just kind of with how the boss shuffle randomizer thing works here in GT.
Okay, now just... Oh, okay. Just hope it goes off screen. Okay, it's trying to go off screen here, and then the game thinks, oh, you defeated the boss, so we'll open up the door.
Gosh, this is so intense.
Maybe if you die after this, you have to refight him.
I mean, this is not, okay, so right, so we can obviously see, compared to KillerApp, Dunka has a lot of time to be able to buff himself, right? Dunka doesn't know that, and dying here would certainly not be very pleasant. Dunka could have already used his other blue potion. Safeties are definitely going to be somewhat more of a concern. Also, maybe just another point of observation, you also did see that, even though the ice head was trying to basically put out some ice on the floor, it is not necessarily because it is like the desert arena. Oh my gosh, Dunka, no! Everything's fine. Alright, we believe in Dunka. He is going to be just fine being on one heart and blue mail while he makes the climb. He's
okay, just gonna burn us.
Don't worry. It might be a little bit laggier, but survivability, in slower is certainly better than dying at this point. Oh my gosh.
Dunka, please.
Oh my gosh, Dunka.
I mean, you can't touch this fire chain.
Yeah. Also, a good point of note: Dunka is on one heart. Mail does not do anything against the fire bars, the spikes, or anything like that. So yeah, Dunka needs to be pretty careful.
He's gonna have to get a key from these many Helmas.
And yeah, we don't end up even having...
Unless there's a key in here.
Oh my god, that fireball, dude. Dunka, just stay calm, dude. You got this.
Oh.
Easy. Oh, that was a very hard-earned map. Oh, that heart! Oh, you heart! Oh my gosh. Yeah, that heart basically just doubled Dunka's chances of surviving.
There's no powder here, so it can't do unless you wanted to drain his magic and fake powder.
Oh yeah, we're oh my gosh. Jeez.
And it's a cold stare.
It's a cold stare. Oh my gosh, dude.
And we can't hover this.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Magic. Alright, so I think Dunka's gonna try and bombos the shell.
A puff hug is one hit KO.
Yeah, and then just spam the heck out of that fire rod. So Dunka can still take one more hit from the falling icicles, just because it only does 1 heart of damage. But yeah, okay, so we're on. Okay, so Dunka just needs to survive.
Just don't die to Egg. It's not automatic on 2 hearts.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay, so alright, so you better have maybe the Cane of Burnout out for this or something. Maybe Dunka's just really confident in his, conveyor belt room.
Okay, at least the mini Helma's only do half a heart.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there's a heart.
Alright, we made it, guys. We made it. We made it to Agatu. He is by far nobody was ever worried about that room. Holy cow. Alright, Agatu. So he just needs 6 energy hits in order to land this.
Okay, we start with a double.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is a good setup.
Yeah, this is definitely a really good pattern. I hope that counts as a triple. He did get 2 at the very beginning. I just hope he needs 1 more. Nice.
Okay. We survived.
Yes, that is what a if you I hope you had a good popcorn for this gauntlet. Dunka definitely delivered in terms of drama, but yeah, he definitely survived. The most important part was if you die to Agatu, of course, that means the entire climb you have to do again. Even if Dunka dies right now, I don't even blame him if he decides to just take a death early to get a couple of refills for health. Or mirror out or go get a fairy or something, but if you die on Ganon, right, you know, just basically start the fight over. And as opposed to you die on Aga 2, you die in that mini Helma room with the conveyor belts, you're starting the entire climb over. Meanwhile, by the way, KillerApp is already, you know, into this reminder here. Gonna pick up his big key relatively shortly. I believe I saw Dunka's counter for the compass would be check 4, so he's gonna come up here. It looks like it's gonna be the lobby chest, and then he is going to go, you know, claim his 7th crystal. And alright, so while Dunka has made refilled his health, refilled his magic, we are going to take on Ganon with the Master Sword and Silver Arrows. Shoutouts to Blue Mail, by the way. We didn't know how important that Blue Mail was going to be until we kind of saw Dunka's GT climb.
Alright, so this is a Master Sword Ganon. Regular sword slashes do not work. Out of your sense.
Yeah, and yep, so Dunka is going to, you know, just kind of take down his arduous journey, trying to get, hopefully Ganon's going to get some nice warp patterns, right, and kind of we've already seen, you know, earlier on, especially if Dunka's trying to kind of maneuver himself kind of up against the wall, just so you don't kind of experience the really, in this case, you know, we just saw Dunka kind of experience a pretty heavy knockback, right, from Ganon. Now, of course, you know, some people are a bit more familiar or maybe more comfortable with like using Canis Amaria to kind of push down a block. So then when you experience some knockback, you kind of hit the block instead of nothing. Try to keep yourself a little bit closer to Ganon so you can try and get some more spins in. But in this case, you know, I think Dunka is just ready to, you know, just take it slow and steady. The strategy has worked for him throughout, you know, perseverance, you know, through Argus, through Helmasaur. Ganon should be no different, and you know, Dunka also is very well prepared with, you know, a couple of blue potions. The powder, wherever it is, would have been a really nice safety for what it's for both of our runners.
Yeah.
Cape also would have been a nice safety. Not only, of course, you know, less lag than the blue Cana Burna, would have also been pretty nice here in Ganon, but of course, more importantly, they would have unlocked the boots. Best offense, or best defense actually could be very much so in offense. But Dunka's through at finally phases 1 and 2. Basically, you know, just kept his tentacles down. Just gotta get Ganon to stop warping, and then it is 4 silver arrows in. Assuming, of course, the unspeakable does not happen, and Dunka, of course, stays on the platform. A torchlight, of course, not required in this case in any way. Dunka's got plenty of magic, not really necessary. Even got a nice double in here, so just one more.
Now we just cross the bridge.
Yes! Oh. Alright, let's everyone breathe a big sigh of relief for BigDunka finishing up this seed, and what a heck of a seed this was. Finishing up, let's see, get your GGs out in chat. First place, 135.41. Looks like though KillerApp has probably presumably seen the race room, so this looks like it's going to be a forfeit on his part. Very, very valiant effort on his part, especially. You know, it is a very difficult seed. In this particular case, his investments in Pod unfortunately did not pay out, and probably the other consequence was, you know, a very delayed Bombos medallion from Waterfall.
And we're now joined by BigDunka. GG.
Yo, Dunka. Oh, GG's.
It was easy.
Yeah, that GG climb.
I had to change my underwear. That was, I felt good and saw the Trinex. It's like, okay, it's a Trinex. It's not the end of the world. I've done Trinex here before. Sometimes the door even opens after beating the shell. And it's like, all right, it's not a big deal. I have a blue. I just don't want to use it. And then I use the blue. And then I'm like, all right, as long as I don't use the green. And I had to use the green. And then it was 3 hearts all the way up.
Yeah. So nobody anywhere was worried about your climb at all. Especially if you watch the VOD back, you could hear no concerns from anybody.
You know what the most stressful moment was when I realized that I accidentally lasered myself.
Yeah, that's right. Because you were trying to shoot off like the guards right on that bridge. Then you just stood exactly in the wrong place.
Right in the laser. Because it's like, if you accidentally get hit by one of those and they get lasered, you die at 3 hearts. It's like there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. We'll long range these guys and not have to worry about it. And then I just walked right into it. And then I was 1 heart the entire time up until I got the 1 stun heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were all really excited, especially when you're in a mini Homa room, right? You basically played Ring Around the Rosie for a couple times to get that card. But you survived, which was the most important thing.
Oh, jeez, that was so stressful.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we are also joined by KillerApp.
Yeah, you found a server to leave.
GG's.
GG, dude.
GG's. Pats.
Did either of you, I guess, so we definitely did not see the cape on screen. Did you guys happen to find it afterwards or anything?
No.
What was on Bumper Ledge? The
Boots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't step foot in a pod, I didn't step foot into ice, and didn't check 2/3 of GT, so it could be anywhere.
There was Jack Squad and Pod, which surprised me.
Yeah, everyone says believe in Pendant Pod, but not today.
Well, I was going to do it, and then I realized I didn't have the money, because I had spent it on Zora right before I was going to go do it. Then I had to just walk into Eastern. I had $50 on me at that point.
Yeah, that was actually kind of like a major difference. So 2 major differences was one, KillerApp, you in this case had the opportunity to go into pod, which again I think it was very reasonable because you were just right there. But unfortunately, it didn't. We saw that it didn't really have any value. And then the other one, of course, was you sequence broke some of the flipper checks early, right? Went to Zora, and looks like you were unable to check Waterfall Fairy, which
I just put it out of my mind at that point. I could have checked it when I did when I went past the Hylia Island, but if I didn't do it early, I didn't think about it until routed in with Catfish.
Mm-hmm. Also, did you end up skipping the dam chest early?
I see. When I was doing, I was thinking I'm close to Zora money, so if I don't get it, I might have to either dig or get the underneath the rock by Ice Rod Cave. And then I saw the money there and just zoned out that I hadn't opened the chest.
Okay. Okay, so maybe two general questions. So one is, did you guys actually feel, I guess, great, not great, worried, especially I think when you kind of encounter some like the early bosses, right, like the back of the desert for like Vitreous, Helmasaur on Hera definitely gave you guys kind of both a bit of trouble. And then I guess the other one was we did also see the hammer in Eastern Palace. Did you guys feel kind of like not great or okay? Just kind of seeing that.
I mean, Desert didn't feel too bad because it was early. We didn't know what it was and had stuff to beat it. So not feel too bad. Didn't have much map knowledge at that point, but yeah, the easy Moon Pearl up on up in Hera, and then not getting that hammer in a Spear 1 check sucks. But
who got the hammer first? Anyway, I didn't get mine for like 45 minutes, so.
I believe KillerApp was very slightly faster than you.
Okay.
Just because he went over to the pod Eastern area first, right? He went over to Catfish, and then after pod he went into Eastern. But then that was around the time you also went to Eastern.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it was both pretty kind of late, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the same thing. The only Helma really needs to stop hanging out in Hera because that's he's up there all the time and it's ridiculous. And I missed that last freaking bomb. That was my last bomb, and he went left instead of right, and it's like, ugh.
I had to hit like I had not practiced him and being there, so I was like trying to find spots where I could hit with the hammer because I only had a couple bombs, and like almost a third of my hammer hits didn't register because I guess it was over the gap and it doesn't register your hits over when your hammer is hitting over the hole. But
yeah, I think my biggest
frustrating.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern in that early game is like Moon Pearl on Vidi and Desert, because it's like it's totally viable. It's just you don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt better about doing it because I sequence broke that sword in Meyer Shed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, it didn't pay out at all. So.
I mean, you had the Master Sword actually, for a little bit actually longer than Dunka. And in fact, actually, so when Dunka actually went first to the back of Desert, he was only on Fighter Sword, right? And he saw Vitrias. I think you did like 2 spins or something, right? And then you just noped out Dunka, which, by the way, I think is 100% correct. KillerApp, though, I think like when you went back there, you had the Master Sword, and you basically just took down Vitrias in one shot.
Hmm. Yeah, it's easy when you don't have a pool of acid to take away your health.
I would certainly, though, both like to congratulate you. I mean, like, the seed, especially early on, I mean, even actually kind of like in-game, right? You were going to get, like, the silvers, I guess, were really nice to find, but, I mean, basically Fighter Sword / Master Sword the whole time. Like, not probably the most pleasant of execution, experiences.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
So, any hopes for the next race between you two in terms of modes?
Well, we know we won't get this again, at least for the next one, which is fine. I don't know about you, man. I don't want to see keys of any sort. I'm sick of them.
I don't mind keys. Inverted is sort of because there's just so many routing options with that. You can get bone one way or another, but yeah, I think MC boss is probably my worst out of the things, so I don't mind.
Well,
honestly, what we get next time. So.
That sounds good. I didn't actually happen to check the schedule. Do you guys have Game 2 scheduled already?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. I mean, you have basically like 2 weeks, right? So no real rush.
Yeah, we'll probably talk right after this.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, and for both your sakes, I really hope you guys, get boots. You've seen boots. It's not the same thing as having boots, by the way. So
that made me feel a little bit better because I didn't see him at all. You'd probably better feel more frustrated seeing him and not being able to get him.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions for the VXR, or you guys got any thoughts?
Thanks, SpeedGaming, for the restream. I know it was sort of last minute this morning that it came together, so appreciate the comms and trackers and restreams.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Much appreciated.
See you in Game
2. Yeah,
we'll chat again here soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, thank you so much. This was quite the race, guys.
Yeah,
and of course, GG's Dunka. I mean, like you definitely persevered through this scene, so very well deserved one.
Many thanks.
All right. Both Dunka, you and KillerApp, if you're still listening, definitely rest up and good luck, of course, to Game 2. Let's see. Yeah, I want to thank you so much, VXR, for joining me on commentary. It was a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was quite the race, even though it was an hour and a half of boostless execution. But Dunka and KillerApp basically made it as about exciting as it could be, especially with Dunka's GT climb. Yeah. I want to thank again to our awesome tracker Sammy Moss. Again, she is awesome. You can basically see her Twitch channel and chat. Does so much tracking for us. Really is very cool to be able to have her around so much. So thank you so much for tracking this. Done an excellent job, of course. So right, in terms of more rando tonight, I believe there's actually another match going on in SpeedGaming main right now. It is actually, let me check real quick. It is Days Cloud versus Zero Rush. That's actually going to be really good. So head on over there, and probably going to be one of the last matches of the night. But don't worry, there's plenty of rando action coming up tomorrow. It just needs to be basically the schedule is posted. So until then, yeah, go watch some more rando on SpeedGaming main, and have a good rest of the night.
Thank you all so much for watching.